I'm Chantrey. I work as a self-employed farm worker. Previous to that, I worked on farms and I have milked cows and been around livestock since I was 12 and 13 years old. The worst thing about farming is paperwork and politics. The biggest problem is the paperwork and the things that we're facing. Same as like we're facing more problems now. We're out of Brexit. Now we're out of Europe. Different legislations and things like that, which is too complex to go into at the moment. But I would say the biggest problem with the farming today is paperwork, legislation. If the cows don't get milked, especially with the high yielders of the herd, they are open to infection, such as mastitis and things like that, simply because the milk is not being taken away from them. You know, I mean, there has been occasional times in my life when we've missed a milking because of the weather or because of the electric not being there or things like that. I mean, we're not too bad here because we have standby generators, but yes, I have been on some places where we have missed the odd milking, and that doesn't necessarily mean it isn't a disaster, but if you weren't ever to milk them again, then there would be mastitis problems, and if that wasn't treated, then that can be lethal. The milk is distributed at the moment to a local dairy called Our Cow Molly. They produce ice cream, the retail milk, and at the moment they are virtually having all the milk that we can produce. Especially during this last few months, during lockdown, I think there's been more demand for dairy. But unfortunately, there's getting less milk producers in the country. I think there's less than 7,000 milk producers in the country now. But unfortunately, they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You're onto these units where the cows never go outside or anything like that, and there's many hundreds of cows on one unit. Whereas in previous years, there used to be family farms milking 100 cows. And, you know, so it has changed. But as for demand for dairy, you've only got to speak to where our milk goes, and they can't get enough milk. Their demand for glass bottled, especially glass bottled milk, and carton milk has risen. What makes it all worthwhile is when you get there in the morning and you let the cows in the parlour and they all come in. I'm glad to see them, and I think they're glad to see me, and I think it makes it all worthwhile.